Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show. Bringing you tonight a rather early fantasy show for this week, looking ahead to Matchweek 13 of the Bundesliga, of course, with our fantasy football expert in the house, Rune. How are you doing this evening?
Very good, Rory. Good to be back with the fantasy show. Unfortunately, we couldn't record last week. We really wanted to, but that's just how it is sometimes with other commitments. But pleased to be back and looking forward to tonight's show.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, with us recording during the Champions League, we completely understand if you're maybe switching screens, but hopefully you can get us on whilst you're watching all the games kicking off. It's been a bit of a whirlwind last 2 hours for myself watching Man United attempt to win a game of football, but when is it not these days? Unfortunately, as a Man United fan, but alas, we press on. So what we'll do is, obviously, before we do crack on, please do smash a thumbs up on the video. Obviously, comment along whilst you're watching. If you've got questions and comments in regards to any of our picks this evening, and please do make sure you press the red button to subscribe. And share the word, spread the word, particularly around fantasy football. It's a really growing community at the moment. So, we're really loving it. And you've got a full, basically a day and a half extra to watch this content. So please do spread the good word around. So what I'll now bring up is Runa's 3 picks for defenders this week, which you can see going below the bottom of your screen. So obviously what we'll do is we'll start with budget as per usual, Runa. So over to yourself.
Yeah, I picked a bit expensive budget pick this week just because I think there are 2 players in the same price category that are really attractive this week in defense. And one of them is Rogerio from Wolfsburg, who recently returned from injury and is playing in an attacking wingback role for Wolfsburg. I think he had a really good game last week against Leipzig, got on the score sheet as well and picked up 11 points. So I think at just 6 million, I think he offers pretty good value for money, especially with Wolfsburg heading to Bochum for a pretty favorable matchup, I'd say. And the other player in the same price category is Maximilian Mittelstedt, who costs just a bit more. He's done really well recently for Stuttgart, picked up 25 points in his last 2 games. Most recently, he got 14, as we can see on the screen now. He's seems like he's starting to find his feet at Stuttgart now, and with Hiroki Ito out for the rest of the year, the way should be clear for him to continue starting on the left side of the fence for a long spell now. And also, of course, Stuttgart have a pretty good matchup against Werder at home. And then finally, my premium pick is David Raum. I think that Leipzig are one of the teams to target this week at home against Heidenheim. And Raum is one of their top fantasy Bundesliga assets, already on 107 points this season. So both Raum and Henrichs are really good picks in defense. Henrichs missed out against Manchester City due to an injury, but looks like he'll return against Heidenheim at home. So I really like both Raum and Henrichs.
Yeah, absolutely grand. Good stuff there. Thank you very much, Runa. First comment of the night is from Tim, regular viewer Tim. So hope you're doing well this evening. Thank you for your first question. Is Lucanet an option, Runa? So obviously looking at some other attractive assets, probably from a Gladbach point of view. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, pretty good option too. And then he's in the same price category as Mittelstedt and Rogerio, and also on sale this week, which increases the appeal. I think. Also a very good option playing as an attacking left wing back for Gladbach. He's been a bit inconsistent, I think, with his returns this season, but he showed that he can really hold when he's having a good game. So also one to consider there.
Yeah, often involved in very high-scoring matches as well, as we all know with Gladbach. They're obviously a very entertaining team to watch these days. Jeff, checking in. Welcome back. Welcome back to the daylight in the US. Yes, absolutely. Hope you're able to not watch at too earlier hour in the morning. Jeff has also asked or stated, Mittelstadt, okay. Should we be keeping an eye out for the returning Wagnerman, Runa? Because, of course, a player that Stuttgart have been missing, all the season. And, we've been highly anticipating his return. He'll be doing well to get into the starting 11 because of, the form of the team. But, of course, he'll be looked at with the injury to Ito at some point.
Yeah, I think he's a player to keep an eye on, but at the moment, I mean, he's not a regular starter yet. He was very good last season, so we know he has a lot of potential. But he's one to keep on the radar for now, at least for me. I also don't think he will start this weekend. I expect Huao to play on the right side of the fence instead. But yeah, once we can see that he gets regular starts again and he starts showing the level that we also saw from him last season, then he's definitely a good option.
Yep, absolutely fantastic stuff. Thank you for your early questions, Tim and Jeff. Do get them in if you're watching live. Whilst we move on to our midfielders section. So Rune's going to take us through his next three picks and we will pick up questions thereafter. So pop them in where you can. So again, over to you, Rune.
Yeah, my budget pick is Tim Skarke from Darmstadt, who is a player that I really like fantasy-wise. He's on sale this week, as we can see. I think he's one of the best options if you're looking for a cheap midfielder. Darmstadt have a pretty good home fixture against FC Köln, likely to be a close game, tight affair, and as we have seen from Skarke already this season, he's one of the Darmstadt players who can make a difference for them. He has 3 goals and an assist to his name already in 10 games. So he's playing in a quite attacking role for them. And a player who likes to take shot at goals. So even if he doesn't score or assist, then he can still do quite well, as we've seen. My mid-price pick is Marco Richter, who I was very impressed with the weekend. I think he had a really, really good game for Mainz, and he was quite unlucky only to score 1 goal for them. Had some pretty extraordinary set pieces, and Baumann did well in the Hoffenheim goal to keep him away from scoring more than just once. And as we can see, he also picked 21 points. So that was quite amazing. And I think if this is any indication of what's to come for him in the weeks to come, it looks very promising. Especially because Mainz have a very good run of fixtures coming up. In general, I think they look much better and really deserve to win the game against Hoffenheim. And then finally, my premium pick is Christoph Baumgartner, who I'm pretty sure will start for Leipzig this weekend against Heidenheim. He only started on the bench against Manchester City in midweek, so I think Rose will make a few alterations and most likely put Baumgartner in his starting lineup this time. And as we can see, he's owned by 0% and a quite good alternative to Xavi Simons, who's a doubt actually because he picked up a shoulder injury against Manchester City. So I would recommend people to keep an eye on the Simons situation and consider whether to replace him with Baumgartner if he's ruled out or unlikely to play, or even get them both, because I think having them both could work well given the favorable matchup that Leipzig have at home against Heidenheim.
Yeah, absolutely good stuff. We've been I've been burnt once by going hard on Leipzig assets so far this season. Their form has been patchy, but obviously they were good in spells against City, but obviously they couldn't see it out midweek, so there'll be a bit of travel in their legs, but still obviously a favourable fixture for this weekend for Leipzig. I think there is another question from Jeff. Tough week for Musiala to not be on sale, not starting today. Any updates on his prognosis for the weekend, Runa? Well, see if he's not starting today, higher chances of him starting at the weekend potentially, but Bayern have still gone pretty strong tonight, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and yeah, it's a shame, Jeff. Now that he's on sale, it would be a good time to bring him back, but yeah, doesn't look like he will be fit enough to start there. The game will most likely come too soon for him. As far as I know, he's only in individual training still, so can't really see him getting back to team training and getting in the form needed to start the game with only a few days remaining. So will most likely be Müller playing the attacking midfield role again.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, we'll move on gladly to our strikers. Over to yourself, Runa, and maybe a not so familiar name for many around the Bundesliga. So you'll have to run us through your budget pick
Yeah,
particularly carefully.
yeah. Well, I have to admit I struggled a bit to find a good enabler up front. I think it's really difficult, and obviously a lot of people are going with the 3-4-3 formation and getting expensive strikers. But yeah, if I were to pick an enabler up front, I think Aaron Sedel from Darmstadt is a pretty good pick if he starts. And we can see if he starts on Friday. So yeah, he was handed a start last time out, and yeah, his price is really low. So if you want to go 4-4-2 and just want a cheap striker starting who has, I mean, an okay potential of getting on the score sheet, and I think he has if he starts, because, as I said, I think it will be a close game between Darmstadt and Köln. Then I think Sedel is worth considering. But personally, I will be spending big upfront, so not a player I will go with myself. Mid-price pick is Dennis Undav, who yeah, obviously has been amazing while Girassi has been out injured, and yeah, took his goal tally to 8 goals in 10 games last week with the brace. So yeah, really made the most of his chance while Girassi was out injured. Now it looks like they will play together up front. So yeah, I can easily see Undav continuing his fine form up front against Werder Bremen. They're quite leaky at the back. Of course, you could also bring in Girassi and spend a bit more. Personally, I'm a bit wary of getting him now because he started on the bench last time out and might take a bit of time for him to get back to the form he showed before his injury. So I think Undav is a good option especially if you want to free up funds for other expensive assets. And then finally, Lois Openda is my premium pick. I was really impressed with his goals against Man City the other night. Showed, yeah, he was really clinical in those situations, I think. And actually against Wolfsburg last week, I think he was, yeah, he could easily have scored as well. He's quite unlucky not to get on the score sheet there. Still picked up an assist and got 12 points, but was involved in a lot of chances. So definitely a player who could have a great game this week against Heidenheim at home. But I also just wanted to add that, of course, if Xavi Simons isn't playing, then it would also harm Openda's chances of doing well, because usually when Openda scores, then Simons is involved, and they've formed a pretty good partnership, those two. So I think it would be a blow to Openda's chances of doing well too if Simons is ruled out. So that's also a factor to consider.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Openda, yeah, playing really well midweek off the back of a bit of light criticism from myself and Mark on Monday review show when we were talking a little bit more about Leipzig in general. As you said, Runa could have easily scored a few goals against Wolfsburg at the weekend, but yeah, took his chances really well against City last night. So yeah, he'll be riding high confidence wise. And again, if we look at the matchup, it looks really, really tempting to bring him in to our team. Question from Tim: what do you think about Leverkusen's assets? Rune, obviously ahead of this weekend, and obviously what promises to be a very tasty matchup as well.
Yeah, that's actually one of the big questions this week, what to do with the Leverkusen assets, because I think a lot of people have 5 Leverkusen players in their side at the moment, and obviously Dortmund is a pretty tough opponent, even with the form Leverkusen are in. Of course, you never know if Dortmund show up. I think they've been really inconsistent, but if they perform like they did against the AC Milan in the Champions League, then they are a tough opponent. So the big question is what to do with the Leverkusen assets. Personally, I wouldn't consider selling Frimpong and Grimaldo because they've just been so amazing, doing well no matter who the opponent is, and also for Grimaldo, for example, also did well against Bayern, scored a fantastic free kick there, and they both seem pretty fixture proof. Same with Florian Wirtz, I feel. He didn't travel to Sweden for the Europa League game due to a muscle injury, but looks like he'll be fit, and wouldn't consider selling him either. And Hoffman has also been amazing, so I think it's really difficult to really to pull the trigger and sell any of those Leverkusen assets. One player I would consider selling actually is Victor Boniface, because I don't think he's been as good as the others lately. He's had a few pretty okay performances, but it's been a bit of a while since he's gotten on the score sheet last time, and only got 6 points against Werder last week. I know Wirtz also disappointed in that game, but I just feel like with the alternatives up front, with Openda, Girassi, for example, I think it makes sense at least to consider selling Boniface for this match day, but I don't think I'll touch the other 4 under any circumstances. Hoffman, Wirtz, Frimpong, Grimaldo, they're just too good at the moment for me to consider selling them.
Yeah, I think obviously with this Dortmund side defensively, it's not like Leverkusen are going to be shy of a chance or two, you'd imagine. So there will be plenty of opportunities for the wingers, the fullbacks to get their chances, and Wirtz and Hoffman as well. Obviously, looks like it will be a really entertaining match, and hopefully it lives up to the billing. I'm sure we'll all be watching that on Sunday. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's any more comments in. Naturally, we know that we're recording, during prime time Champions League football. So thank you to everyone that's commented along so far whilst we've been live. And then, of course, we'll come to questions as and when we see them in the chat below. So please don't be shy. Get your comments in. You've got the best part of 2 whole nights, 2 days to review this and let us know your thoughts and questions, and we'll pick them up. But yeah, otherwise, as per usual, please do give a thumbs up to the video for the content. We'll be back tomorrow evening. Mark and Peter will be returning. We're doing some obviously match week 13 predictions. So looking forward to that. I'll be driving down south to a wedding, so I'll not be partaking, unfortunately. And then our next show, we possibly are doing a watch along as well on Sunday for the big one. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then, of course, we'll be back with our review show on Monday, hopefully again with a new guest. So yeah, all looking forward to all the content that we've got coming up ahead. So make sure you follow us on X, aka Twitter. All those different details below. Make sure you're always checking out Bully News as well on there, our fantastic partners. And yeah, that is it. So thank you everyone again for watching. Thank you, Rune, as per usual, and enjoy the rest of the footy. Obviously, if you're watching the Bayern Copenhagen match, I'm sure myself and Rune will be watching that very closely indeed. So thank you all and enjoy.
Bye-bye.